Operation Telic and Operation Herrick, the code names for British military involvement in Iraq and Afghanistan. It's more than a decade since they ended, and so members of the UK's armed forces without combat experience are growing in number and rank. One of the operations keeping them busy during peacetime is leading a multinational training mission for Ukrainian troops in their fight against Russia, Operation Interflex. Tens of thousands have been trained here in the UK, many returning from the front line they call home to upskill before redeploying again. It's created a unique dynamic whereby the trainers have less experience in a real firefight than many of the Ukrainian trainees. I visited an Op Interflex site to learn more.
Yeah, I think that's a fact of the way the army is at the moment, that the junior elements of a company probably haven't been in operations before, or if they have, they will have maybe caught the back end of Operation Herrick or something similar. There's an institutional credibility that the British Army has, where whether or not a lance corporal or a corporal has been in operations or has engaged in combat, he or she is deeply qualified to teach tactics, to teach doctrine, based on the British Army's heritage of understanding of this. Sometimes there's a little bit of questioning early on from Ukrainian trainees if they have a lot of very recent active military experience, potentially asking, what have you got to teach me? But very quickly they realise that there's a huge amount of refinement to their experience and tactical understanding that they can gain from our instructors. If there is a friction, shall we say, early on, it doesn't last for long. So we talk to them about things like battle space management that they've been doing without necessarily knowing they're doing it. The way that we do our command and control under NATO doctrine, the way we do things like fire support control measures, which are an obvious sort of life-saving approach that we take to our operations, that sometimes isn't considered, and it may be a case of more luck if an attack goes smoothly because they hadn't planned for that.
So what do the Ukrainians take away from it all?
First of all, to save and take care of the troops, proper command and control of the troops, and thanks to that, to achieve the goal. I want to express gratitude to instructors who are teaching us here, because for us it's an amazing experience that we gain here, and that will be important on the front line.
For people who will be in the combat units, they really need to understand planning really well and how to do that. So there's one thing that's really needed for us.
We do clearly understand that we're working with instructors that might have less or no combat experience. However, they do have great experience as it is, and we have our own combat experience, and the mixture of those two experiences worked really well. We created military friendships with them. I really liked some tactics in terms of combat actions that British instructors introduced to us. Therefore, that's what I'll be sharing with my soldiers who are back from the front line.
There's a clear value attached to the British military doctrine passed down to those who are too young to have fought in Afghanistan or Iraq.
We'll warn our soldiers and then we'll call it in.
This instructor hasn't seen combat himself,
Artillery going in now.
but his efforts to deliver training earned him the Ukrainian Star for Military Brotherhood, awarded by the Ukrainian Defence Minister.
We try to get the tactics and the situations as close to their reality as possible.
So they always receive it like they can learn. Maybe they've been there and done it.
To be honest, on the whole, we found them really good because quite quickly our training team built up some credibility by displaying their skills. So the way we approach it is we're not trying to teach them the way of doing things, we're trying to teach them a way of doing things. One of the things that I do is I always sit down with a new group and I'll get to know them on a one-to-one level and find out if they're willing to share what their experience is. And then as much as I can, I'll lean on their experience. Every time we're delivering a lesson, they can then share that information with the group, but also my training team. But yeah, we find that we're able to use their experience to create situations that benefit the whole group, not just the ones that are already skilled up.
Exposure to new ways of fighting and the fighters themselves means the Brits can also learn a thing or two during these exchanges.
The way that the Ukrainians are fighting is changing over the years. We learn a lot from them about the current realities of the battle, which is different to the way that we have historically done it. We're doing our best to evolve the course and keep up with the battlefield developments to make sure not only that it's relevant and it's correct for the reality, but that it's giving them what they need, building on their previous experience.
Tom Zabels, BFBS Forces News in the east of England.
Thanks for watching. For more from BFBS Forces News, like and subscribe to our channel.